Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. All right, boys and girls, do you remember yesterday when we talked about how every story has a beginning, a middle, and an end? Yeah, and then we read a story about a boy named Alexander, right? And it talked about his day. Yeah. Do you ever tell anyone about your day? Yeah, I do. I go home and tell my family about my school day. Alright, so today we're going to reread Alexander's story. Alright, so I want you to turn on your listening ears and let's see if we can detect the beginning, the middle, and the end of our story. I want you to listen for our clue words like first, next, then, last, second, all of the ones that are on the poster over there. And I want you to also think about the times of the day and what you do during like the morning, during the school morning, at lunch, after school, and then at dinner time and after dinner and bedtime. All right, so I want you to keep those things in mind while we're listening today, okay? Let's set our goal. I think that we will be able to retell Alexander's story at the end of today. Think we can reach it? Yeah? All right, let's begin. Alexander and the terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. For Robert Lesher, with love and thanks. I went to sleep with gum in my mouth, and now there's gum in my hair. When I got out of bed this morning, I tripped on the skateboard, and by mistake, I dropped my sweater in the sink while the water was still running, and I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Why does Alexander think that it's going to be such a bad day? Right. Let's see if it gets better. At breakfast, Anthony found a Corvette Stingray car kit in his breakfast cereal box, and Nick found a junior undercover agent code ring in his breakfast cereal box. But in my breakfast cereal box, all I found was breakfast cereal. I think I'll move to Australia. In the carpool, Mrs. Gibson let Becky have a seat by the window. Audrey and Elliot got seats by the window, too. I said I was being scrunched. I said I was being smushed. I said, if I don't get a seat by the window, I am going to be carsick. No one even answered. I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Has Alexander's day gotten any better? No, it hasn't. Why? What's happened? Right. Now, what time of day is this yet? Has he gone to school yet, or is it still morning? Right, it's still morning. So what does that tell you? Do you think it's what part of the story? Right, the beginning. Let's file that in our brains. All right, let's keep reading. At school, Mrs. Dixon liked Paul's picture of the sailboat better than my picture of the invisible castle. At singing time, she said I sang too loud. At counting time, she said I left out 16. Who needs 16? I could tell it was going to be a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. I could tell because Paul said I wasn't his best friend anymore. He said that Philip Parker was his best friend, and that Albert Moyo was his next best friend, and that I was only his third best friend. I hope you sit on a tack, I said to Paul. I hope the next time you get a double-decker strawberry ice cream cone, the ice cream part falls off the cone part and lands in Australia. There were 2 cupcakes in Philip Parker's lunchbox, and Albert got a Hershey bar with almonds, and Paul's mother gave him a piece of jelly roll that had little coconut sprinkles on top. Guess whose mother forgot to put in dessert? It was a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Was school any better for Alexander? No, it wasn't, right? Why? What happened? Right. Yep. Job. All right. So what part of school is our story? Is it the beginning or more towards the middle? Or is it the end? What do you think? Right? It's kind of towards the middle. All right, let's keep reading. That's what it was, because after school, my mom took us all to the dentist, and Dr. Fields found a cavity just in me. Come back next week and I'll fix it, said Dr. Fields. Next week, I said, I'm going to Australia. On the way downstairs, the elevator door closed on my foot, and while we were waiting for my mom to go get the car, Anthony made me fall where it was muddy. And then when I started crying because of the mud, Nick said I was a crybaby. And while I was punching Nick for saying crybaby, my mom came back with the car and scolded me for being muddy and fighting. I am having a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day, I told everybody. No one even answered. So then we went to the shoe store to buy some sneakers. Anthony chose white ones with blue stripes. Nick chose red ones with white stripes. I chose blue ones with red stripes. But then the shoe man said, we're all sold out. They made me buy plain old white ones, but they can't make me wear them. When we picked up my dad at his office, he said I couldn't play with his copying machine, but I forgot. He also said to watch out for the books on his desk, and I was careful as I could be, except for my elbow. He also said don't fool around with his phone, but I think I called Australia. My dad said, please don't pick him up anymore. It was a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. Was the errands much fun for Alexander? No, it wasn't. Right. Yep. All right. Anyone think they could predict what part of the story we're in? Right. We're kind of leaning towards the middle. Yeah, good job. Right. There were lima beans for dinner, and I hate limas. There was kissing on TV, and I hate kissing. My bath was too hot. I got soap in my eyes. My marble went down the drain, and I had to wear my railroad train pajamas. I hate my railroad train pajamas. Can anyone think of what part of the story we're entering right now? Good job, the ending. When I went to bed, Nick took back the pillow he said I could keep, and the Mickey Mouse nightlight burnt out, and I bit my tongue. The cat wants to sleep with Anthony, not with me. It has been a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. My mom says some days are like that. Even in Australia. Was Alexander's day a good one? Why? All right, tell me one thing that happened. Molly. Right, he got gum in his hair. All right, what happened after he got gum in his hair? Colton. Right, he didn't get a prize in his cereal box. All right, boys and girls, I want you to turn to your reading partner and tell them the rest of the story. This would be the part where the students are discussing the story, and I would get up and walk around. And yeah. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. All right, so this is what I heard. I heard after Alexander didn't get his prize in his cereal box. I heard how he didn't get his window seat, and then his teacher didn't like his picture, and then he got in a fight with his friend, and that he didn't get dessert at lunchtime, and that he got a cavity at the dentist. I heard all of these things. Now, after hearing all of this and hearing Alexander's story, can you relate? Can you make that connection? Have you ever had a bad day too? I know I have. Yeah? Alright, now class, I want you to file this story into your brain, and we'll come back to it tomorrow. And now I want you to go to your reading workshop stations.